How's it going, guys? Luke here, and welcome to a new episode with some Pot Limit Omaha content. Today, we will continue our journey playing some PLO 50 on Ipoker. It's a live recording, myself playing, and showing all of you how I am approaching these games. Getting right into the action. Table number 2, the money goes in with aces against ace 10, 5, 3. Let's see if we can hold this one. We do. Ship the first pot. Guys, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the link below to the PLO Mastermind where you can learn more about Pot Limit Omaha strategy. I'm gonna get right into it. 4 tables are lined up. Couple color codings for today. I'm gonna briefly mention that. The purple ones are the recreational players, more on the loose side. Actually, I gotta adjust this one. We already saw this guy before, being more on the passive side actually. Yellow is more a reggish player, but more on the tighter end. And then a green player is also a reggish player, but more average, normal stats in my opinion. I got a couple more color codings. For example, the bluish player on the bottom right. It's a very loose passive player, so plays a lot of hands, but generally comes into the pot with either a limp or a call. He doesn't really like to raise. And I think that is pretty important to color code your players and find a system for yourself that works. Any system where you have like between, I would say 6 to 15 colors. I think that's reasonable. I don't think you should have much less because there are definitely more opponents available. Like here on Ipoker, for example, you can see we have 8 colors. So, I mean, that's what I should do it with. So I use 8 color codings. But on some sites, you can customize it and you can go for even more. And I think that's sometimes even more beneficial. But more importantly, really, is that you at least should have a do have a color coding system in place. Table number 2, I'm not sure really if this is actually a raise or not. Queen, queen, 10, 5, trip suited. But we take it down. You can see we're also working with a hot, which is one of the advantages, for example, on playing on Ipoker. Definitely more sites where you can work with a hot. And if the option is there, then I would say definitely use it. Very beneficial. Table number 3. We don't want to do too much cold calling. I think this fold with king, king, jack, deuce is fine versus early position. On the button, I would definitely have called. But because we play in a low stake game slash a high rake environment, you want to be selective with your cold call strategy, which is generally the biggest difference when it comes to the stakes and your preflop ranges, right? Like passive preflop actions have a big, or how do you say it? Like passive preflop actions are changing the most based on different rake levels. That's what I was trying to say. Based on GTO preflop ranges. Table number 1, I'm going to fold this one. Trip suited, pretty disconnected. Even though we have an ace-high suit, we play against an MP range. Or at least an MP open, not necessarily an MP range always. Yeah. In my prior session, we didn't have too many big pots, super interesting hands, but the general game was definitely interesting. I'm gonna close this table and find a new one. I think it's very helpful if you have the option to play regular tables, to also mix up tables if you find tables that are giving better opportunities. We turn the nuts on a 3, pretty good card. And we're gonna pot it. We are gonna pot it. Table number 1. I think we just want to raise. Table number 1. Definitely good board for my range. Just gonna bet small. Interesting turn. Interesting turn. We could bet again or check. We're still ahead against some... I think betting is not that great, actually. I think we should just check. Yeah, this is not that nice. Table number 4. I think we want to bet. And that's the thing. Now we have to fold on table number 1. Let's see. Table 4, we can also check back flop for sure. Especially because we don't have a backdoor flush draw. So the potential to barrel is not that great. But we just have good blockers to the board. With the ace, the 5, the 6. We can fold out some bear over pairs, which would be a nice result. Bottom left, we are going to check back. We don't have any connection to the board really. Besides, we have 2 backdoor flush draw. My opponent's also not probing that much, only 26% of the time, meaning this option he has now to bet. He doesn't do that much. I think I'm gonna go for a bet now. We have a flush draw, we have no showdown value. Don't think my opponent will check raise too much on this card either. Table number 2. We will come in for a squeeze. It's not a squeeze really. I mean, sort of. But we will raise it up. Not great if this guy comes over the top, of course. But you can ISO raise with a bunch of stuff that isn't aces. And folding is even better. Because we just take it down pre-flop, no rake. Table number 3. We face a raise. I mean, should we just flat? We definitely want to have a good... Like, the deeper we get, the more aces we don't 4-bet pre-flop in position. Right now, we can make it 80. We can... get like it's pretty close, pretty close. I think I will still 4-bet. Let's see what my opponent does. Also because I think he makes some incorrect calls with kings pre-flop, most likely. On this board, the money will go in. We're not too happy that we don't have a pair block or a straight draw, backdoor flush draw, but the board is too dry to do anything else. This is actually a pretty good result, right? Like, we don't want our opponent to stack off there because then we are behind, most likely, or at least we won't do well. This is nice on table number 2. We get the odds now to just continue. Don't really think we want to raise there. Fold. Could be worth looking into the aces pre-flop. Like this hand. Might mark a couple of hands today that we could look into later. So this, for example. Let me just save that. Yeah. Aces versus a draw. First flush draw. Bottom left, aces win. Nice hand. So this player also gonna tag him. You really want to be active with your color coding tag system. Like mark people and adjust if you need. But it's best to just already have some sort of idea about how a player is going to play. And it won't be perfect, that's fine. Table number 4, not good enough to open. Fold it. Table number 1, we do open raise. With the short stack and the big blind, I'm gonna fold this hand. Otherwise, it could be a raise, I think, if everyone was at least 100 big blinds. There are a lot of population tendencies for the lower stakes where you can use exploits that work pretty well overall. Like in the prior episode, I spoke about big blind versus small blind. That the big blind is overfolding there versus small blind steal, so could be noteworthy for you guys if you watch this and play these games, or even lower stakes that people generally overfold. Table number 3. This is generally not a board we're gonna do a lot of betting, but we are SPR2 sort of, a little bit more, SPR 2.2, and we have an open-ender and an overpair. I think we can just pot and get it in. That's a pretty good turn, I would say. Yep. And we win. Yeah, another way to sort of deviate pre-flop, or another pre-flop deviation, I would say, is that from the earlier positions, like, because the games are so multi-way focused, this is not even that great spot on table number 1. I mean, we do have the queens. Might be even a fold table 1, but whatever. Yeah, we'll also... table number 4, we ISO raise. Definitely on the looser end. And table number 2, we 3-bet. Not a great spot on table number 4, of course. I think table number 2, we just check and give up. Like, it's board is so dynamic and coordinated. Table number 4. I think that this could be a check in a GTO world, but I think my opponent is just going to check so often here that I am just going to get it in myself. And he probably has kings and now has to call me. Because the price is just too good and he has kings. Table number 2, I don't even know if I want to turn my hand into a bluff. Like, there are just so many, there are like multiple straights out there. I think we're just gonna check fold. Check raise could be very, I don't know, not doing it. But this hand, yeah, I would say that my opponent is going to check this very often on the turn. And that therefore, I just want to lead. A little bit exploitative as well, I would say. But yeah. Did work. I was talking about the exploit sort of. I think one of the things you could deviate as well, or sort of exploit, maybe not the right word there, but adjust your own game plan. Like, that could also be a way to talk about exploits. Like, it's more like, how are you adjusting your own game to find a way to profit more against your opponents? And one of those ways could be to, or in my opinion, is to be a little bit tighter from the earlier positions. Focus more on hands that are nutted. And just fold a few more hands from that position. Because you're going to end up a lot 3-4 way. And a ton of that, like 18% open raising range that you would normally raise with. A lot of those hands, they don't necessarily do too great in a multi-way pot. And the hands in the first place are pretty low in expected value. So the likelihood of you winning some money with that is there, but the amount of money that you're gonna win is overall pretty low. So just be a little bit tighter there. And play more hands from the button, for example, because the big blind is overfolding. Table number 4. Could be a potential 4-bet. I don't think this guy is ever folding after the hand that we just played, so I'm just gonna call. Because these bluffs, they definitely benefit from fold equity, and I don't think my opponent is going to fold. Check. I think I'm behind here somehow. I also don't think a raise is gonna work that often. I'm just gonna check fold there. Sounds a bit weird, but I think just given the dynamic that I now have with this player after the prior hand, probably works out better. And wait for a hand where I can really stack him again. Table number 3, the flop goes check, check. We have 3 ways, so this hand is still too weak really to take a stab. Squeezing table number 2. Again, it's not a squeeze actually. It's just a 3-bet, right? This is a board where we bet full range. What do we flop? Table number 2, we flop bottom pair, and my opponent leads 3 ways, so we have an easy fold. Table number 4, I go for a wide 3-bet. It's not too great that this guy is also in there. I wonder what we should do really, because my suits are just not performing great in a 3-way pot, and I don't think this guy's ever folding. My hand's also pretty disconnected. I don't know. I would have called heads up for sure. Now with this guy, I think I'm actually just gonna fold. It sounds pretty weird. And we will look into this hand just to see, like, also we'll save that hand. Money goes in, aces versus an inside straight draw. That hand wins, and we had yep. Okay, I'm gonna sit out. Take a look at 2 or 3 hands quickly, and then wrap up today's session. Yeah, I think that was fine, really. Although I'm not sure if the 3-bet pre-flop is good. We're gonna figure it out pretty soon. This is a fold. And that guy would have never folded. And we would have stacked off on that flop with the flush draw. Yeah, let me know, guys, if you like this kind of footage. And if you do like it, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, obviously. Give the video a thumbs up. And also, let me know if you have any questions below in the comment section. Happy to answer them. We'll do a few more of these live play and explains. Casually playing some hands, and also see how we can analyze some pre-flop spots, which is what I'm gonna do now, at least once we are not in any hand anymore, which will be now. Okay, so we are basically sitting out. I'm gonna open PLO trainer. Yeah, like this. I think that's fine. So we had 2 hands, guys. So this is PLO Trainer. It's a software that allows you to browse and train pre and post flop GTO solutions for Pot Limit Omaha. Not only available for 4-card, but also for 5-card PLO. If you're interested in that, check out the link below. But I want to look into this hand. So we had this spot. Was a pre-flop spot where I was questioning whether or not we should 4-bet. We were sitting at around 120 big blinds. So I don't have that, but we have like 100 and 150. So we can just see what's happening there. So we're playing a cutoff versus small blind situation. I use the stack sizes for PLO 50. So cutoff open raises, small blind 3 bets. So we have ace, ace, queen 5 rainbow. Ace is queen 5 rainbow. And we can see, actually making it a little bit wider, we can see that this hand is actually a call. You can see here in the middle. Let me actually grab this on the side. I can quickly show you guys what I'm referring to. So this would do it, I think. So here we can see 99% of the time we are calling, only 1% of the time we are raising. So this hand would be better off as a call, which was something that I was thinking about. You can see overall we are calling 10.6%. And a lot of these rainbow aces, if you type it in like ace, ace, rainbow, 25% of the time we are calling, and we are basically 4-betting like the better ones, the more strong ones. Now, I don't have a 150 big blind solution for this rake level, but I can quickly look into PLO 500. To see what happens there, you can see that if we type in ace, ace, aces are calling 52% of the time if we play 150 big blind strategy. So way more. And if we look at rainbow aces, you can see 83% or so. So my aces would have definitely been a call there. So that's pretty interesting. A lot of calling there with aces. Now the other hand was the Jack 9-6-5. This situation. So we are 3-betting. We are 150 big blinds deep effective against Anderka. We have this hand, so we're going to go to MP open raises. We sit in the cutoff. And the way to do that best is to, I think, to go to categories, top right. And here we are breaking down all the hands possibly being dealt in Pot Limit Omaha into categories with similar characteristics. So we're grouping hands together. And that's because there are so many combos. It doesn't really make too much sense to focus on one hand. So what we do is we go to unpaired double suited, which is category 1. And we open this up. And you can see that we have sub-levels within each category. So the unpaired double suited category, which is where Jack 9-6-5 double belongs into. We're looking at ace high, which is not our category. Connected, I don't think that's either our category. So we're probably looking at the disconnected category. Because connected is 3 low with Broadway. No, it's actually this category, I would say. I think this is the category we are looking for. Let's see. Jack 9-6-5. Jack 9-6-5 is a fold, you can see. So this is a fold. And you can see if I click on hide 0% combos, you can see that this hand is going to lose minus 0.1 big blind per 100. So we're looking for hands that are a little bit stronger. So if we would remove from this category, for example, the king and the queen, and we focus on the Jack high rundowns, you can see that the ones that we are 3-betting, Jack 8-7-6, a little bit better connected, only 2 gaps instead of 3. Like all these hands actually have 2 gaps. Like this one actually not, Jack 8-7-5, pretty similar. Jack 8-7-5, Jack 9-7-5, so Jack 9-8-5. So they are definitely similar combos, I would say. So I don't think it's a massive mistake in the way that it's a category of hand that never 3-bets, because we can see that these hands are actually 3-betting, but my combo specifically wasn't. Now the main takeaway for this is that, first of all, the EV of many of these hands, it's not crushing. Like we're doing okay, but we're not gonna print. And secondly, we are probably better off to focus on like the 0, the 1, the 2 gappers and be very, very selective with the 3 gappers. I think that would probably make a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Really enjoyed this quick session. Thank you very much for watching. Over and out. This was Luke, and catch you guys soon. Bye bye.